Send help. They're all dead. Alrighty, welcome back to another day of Merc stream. This is the first official day that we will have a Merc game. I am so excited. I am joined by my fellow friend, Evan. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you, boss?
I'm well, man. So for tonight's games, we have Tanukis versus Mojo Jojo at 8 p.m. Make sure you guys tune in to watch that. The lineups for these two rosters are for Mojo Jojo, we have Downfall on the top, Major in the jungle, Don't Eat Bees mid, Grim Rat in ADC, and I'm just gonna call you Emperor at support. For Tanukis, we have I'm just gonna call you Yura. I don't want to butcher anyone's name because then I'd feel horrible. We have Deemed in the jungle, Pandora mid. What is that ADC's name, man?
Just call him Icky or
Icky, yeah,
Ikigu.
Icky. We'll call you Icky, and then support
Yeah,
D.
not even. I'm not even gonna bother with that substitute name.
So both of these teams on paper look pretty okay. Looking at their win rates and stuff. In terms of like actual paper, you would want to give the game to Tanukis because you have a full team of golds compared to a team of pretty much all over the place. But then again, and at the end of the day, it is IBSG, so anything could happen. Um, we could talk about contested picks that we could potentially see. I don't know. What are you seeing right now, Evelyn? Evan, in terms of like contested
Evelyn,
picks for every team. Yeah, Evan.
I'm
Evelyn.
I'm secretly part of League of Legends. No, I think personally, there's a lot of contention between teams, and especially the one with Tanukis. I mean, we look at their stats; they've got 138 games over on the Scion for Pandorum, but the denying factor about that is that Pandorum's playing mid, right? So yes, you have that strong Scion who's, potentially the strongest tank in the whole patch right now. But
Hmm.
your main player's not playing it, so I'm not sure how that's gonna fetch out. But Urameshi looking more comfortable towards that Renekton, so I'm a little interested to see how that top lane is gonna fetch out.
Hmm. So we do have eight, but like both ADCs, from what I'm looking at, do have for the most part the same champion pool. Now I will say with Tanukis, there is a Jinx that is slightly higher prioed for them compared to AG. But then again, Jinx is one of those champions to where you can kind of play, and if you get a team fight, get a team fight as long as you get your passive, and then your team can pill for you. It's pretty easy. Um, I do see a couple Yunara games on AG. Um, Same with so Yunara could also be another contested pick between both teams. How are
Hmm.
you feeling about Yunara in this current meta right now? Like, how do you feel that she fares, and do you think it's actually a good pick, or do you think people still have no idea what to build on her?
I think there's a lot of contention around Yunara at the moment, whether it's picking or banning, but there's an aspect of, new champions, people still yet don't understand her fully. But something I'm a little scared about is, yes, that contention is there, but for AG, it's another level, right? If you do get that Yunara, you're putting Emperor on a back foot, right? Yunara doesn't really work that well with Zara in an aspect, or those enchanters. Yes, she can work well with Milio or Lulu, but it's better you pair her with someone like Braum, right? That high lane poke damage, it's typically going to be what, Yunara versus Jinx, or maybe sprinkle a bit of a Braum in there or an Alistar for
Mhm,
that peel. But generalized, I think this whole game is going to be quite awkward in a way of people are not going to be comfortable. There's going to be contention. There's going to be banning specifically under people who are, more stabilized on that one characters. So I'm a little excited, but a little bit confused onto how they're actually going to be able to play it out.
mhm. So, I will say from what I've noticed, because I sadly am an ADC main, '07. Lulu has felt like the best pairing, in my opinion, along with the Emilio. I can't say I've played too much with Take Engages, Lulu just feels really solid with Yunara, in my opinion, as, someone who's been playing the role for a while.
No, that's probably fine. I feel like Ludo most definitely is strong when you pair it with Junara, but
Hmm.
I think Braum is just so much better because yes, you have that lane presence, and I'm someone who believes in, Yunara does scale. Yes, you can go like I keep on forgetting the name of the ability, but it's got the 2 hours, the one you build before Kraken. I'm not too sure about it. I forget it sometimes.
2 hours?
Um, honestly, I'm not too sure. I'll put the work in later and figure out what it's called. But I feel like laning phase is so much stronger because especially when you go into something like the Jinx, which in this game is going to be heavily, I mean, we can see Icky with a 94 games and a 61% win rate,
Hmm.
whereas, Germrat, or Gurmrat, apologies, 23 with a 30%, 39%. It's not that popular, but they may swap AJ Major onto the ADC. They do have that 57% win rate, maybe in solo queue, but it's not an actual contestation of who they are going to play into the game. But
Hmm.
it's a fact of how are you going to play it in draft. Like, are you going to ban out this Yunara, or are you going to play it into and then maybe pick the Jinx into it to make sure that laning phase is a lot more difficult?
Hmm. Yep. Another contested pick is also, I believe, the MF, which is also really, really good in lower elo because all you do is pretty much you, you line people up and you just push a single button. And in IBSG, that I feel like that's a lot of what this elo is stuff that's very easy to execute,
Hmm.
very easy to just push one single button and win a team fight. Now, yeah, I could be wrong. There could be teams that are very good at pick, but from being around this scene and seeing this scene as long as I have, a lot of the time it's simple to execute, press R button, team fight, because these games are very, very bloody in this elo.
Yeah.
Extremely bloody, which makes it that more interesting to watch. So make sure you guys tune in tonight and follow the stream if you're not, honestly. Because it's going to be a very, very good first game to watch.
Yeah,
Um,
I can most definitely agree with the bloody sense of the fact that it's
mhm,
just a bit of pandemonium all over the gaff, right? There's
no
constant
pun.
fighting. Yeah, literally. But I feel like I'm talking a lot about AG in a way, right? That Zyra, I would be extremely surprised if it's not banned or it's going to be counterpicked, right? But the aspect of you can't forget that they do play that Nautilus as well, right? And that's pretty good
Mhm,
pairing with MF, as you said. You can press that R button, you can go all in, but then comes in the Renekton, right? The Renekton comes in a problem for them as Urameshi is clearly comfortable on it, right?
mhm. Yep. So we can actually transition into that top lane. We did spend quite a bit on ADC, but at the end of the day, we finally got a new champ after so long, so it, it makes me excited. So for the top lane, in terms of like contested picks, I don't think there is many. Honestly, I know that it is strange because Downfall was an ADC last split, I believe. So I'm excited to see how they do going forward, into a new role.
Hmm.
Because I know Downfall was really really good at ADC. So, but hey, I mean, sometimes you need a little break from this lane, unless you're me. I can't go to any other lane at all, man. It's depressing. But anyways, there's not too many contested picks, um, for this top lane here. Now, I am curious to see if we potentially do see something spicy from top lane. Because I mean, currently looking at Downfall's match history, we do see the Rumble, the Cassante, a lot of a lot of tanks, but he does also have some bruisers here and there. I could potentially see the. No, this is not the same team. I was gonna say I could potentially see the Scion flex, but he's not on the same team with Pandorum. So I do see some Shin here, some Orin. So it's kind of all over the place. Now, if we look at AG, no, Tanukis, right? You do see a lot of like the Udyr, which I know can be played top, the Renekton, the Orin, the Rumble. So that they share a couple picks from what I'm noticing. What
Hmm.
are you seeing?
I think we were talking about congestion quite a lot and the
Mm,
fact of these people are going to be clashing heads in that draft to see what they can play. And I
mhm,
think there's going to be quite a lot of emphasis on first ban being Rumble, right? Rumble is extremely strong right now. We're seeing it in the LEC, we're seeing it in the LPL, even LCK from time to time, right? This aspect of Rumble being able to freely control the top lane, got that good wave clear, got that good, strong ability to be able to survive by themselves. I feel like they're gonna try to be rush it, maybe even first pick it.
yeah, I could see that. So sadly, I'm not too known with the top lane. Um, for no slightly bit. What are typically the counters into Rumble if you were, for instance, to say first pick a Rumble? What are champs to do really strong into it?
Now, that's a question of what elo we're playing in. But
That's fair.
I have a feeling that even if Rumble gets picked, it's gonna be fine, right? Because you've got
Mhm,
Urameshi, 142 games on that Renekton. Renekton is, I'd say, pretty strong into that Rumble, for instance. I think it right now around Emerald has got a 53% win rate into that Rumble. So it's a decent counter. But something I would say, if it's not going to be that Renekton, it would be Warwick or Mundo. Pretty easy low elo champions. Warwick's
mhm.
extremely strong right now with the fact of in jungle and top. Bork got that upgrade and that buff recently. So people who like Belveth, Warwick, you base on that Bork, that laning phase is going to be so much easier.
Mhm. Yep, nope, 100%. I do agree. We can now move to either mid or jungle. I will let you take your pick here, man. Whatever you're feeling.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I'm not too sure. I think mid will be quite interesting, especially as Don't Eat Bees plays quite a lot of Victor. Victor's quite concrete in the meta at the moment towards that high
Mhm.
levels. As I said, LEC, LPL. Yes, this isn't the LEC, but this is the low elo murdery bloody version of it.
You are not wrong at all. So there is the potential of seeing something spicy mid lane, like from Pandorum, right? Because you do have the Scion that I'm pretty sure he can play mid. The Pantheon, even if you wanted to do like something like, for instance, the Mundo, which I would highly suggest against. But I mean, hey, at the end of the day, man, it's a tank that if you get the late game, it just pretty much takes over the game. So it's honestly very interesting to see what Pandorum does want to pull out. Um, and then if Don't Eat Bees has any answers into his spicy picks. That's just something we'll have to see. I don't think there are many contested picks between the two roles. Because you have one person that pretty much plays everything under the sun,
Mm,
and then you have a control mage player through and
yes.
through. So, hey, it's really hard to say how this lane can go. I do see the Ori though, that I believe is a contested pick between the two. Um, Knowing Pandorum, I don't think he will pull out anything spicy. I could be completely wrong. That's just something we'll have to see. But anything else that you see that you want to touch on before we move to the worst role in the game? Who said that? Anyways.
No, I feel like mid is going to be most definitely interesting to watch, especially as you have Pandorum. They may pull out those a little bit more unoriginal picks, like they could Mundo mid. It's not the strongest, but I have seen it played. Mundo is quite strong when he's 16.
Hmm.
So that aspect of power leveling and trying to play with scale would quite work for the side of, I'm just gonna call them GCCE. That's easier for me.
There you go.
But a scaling team comp for them seems like more in their books. They typically like to play maybe that Jinx or maybe even more into that Rumble, all strong kind
Mhm.
of late game champions. But we talk about mid lane. I very much think it's gonna go over to the side of Don't Eat Bees, especially if they pick, that typey control mage. They pick that Syndra. It's gonna be a lot harder for Pandorum.
It is, but I know I've seen Pandorum play enough I feel like he can hold his own for the most part, but I do know that Don't Eat Bees was one of the best mids, if not in top 4 last season, I believe. Um,
Mm.
I mean, we'll just have to see what happens. Now, moving on to the role that I I don't like at
One of the
all.
best roles. One of the best
Oh
roles.
man, I can't, dude. I can't. Anyways, we have a major versus good old D-mid. D-med?
Deemed just deemed.
Yeah, what deemed? Yeah, dyslexia. Dyslexia, Jeff. But anyways, let's see. So okay, I don't see at first glance. I don't see many jungle picks from deemed. Um, unless you look at his profile, there is a disgusting amount, and I say disgusting because I see a lot of Neferi. I do see a Shaco game, which I would love. I would honestly love for you to pull out. Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no,
The
I don't want to
Shaco,
see
the
that.
Shaco does. I mean, hey,
Ugh.
it's interesting. It makes for good content, man.
Hey, Pink Ward, get out my game, man. Ugh.
We do see
Disgusting
the
stuff.
Kindred. We do see the Kindred as well. A couple Echo. Yeah, I don't know. This is you definitely I believe it's definitely a carry player into a more of like a tank utility player. Um Now I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's looking like right now. We have someone who
Yeah,
plays tanks over someone that's kind of, hey, I'm gonna be the carry, I'm gonna take the kills, and I'm gonna try to impact the map with my lead, over
I
than
think
being a meat cake.
sorry to interrupt you a little
No,
bit,
you're
but I think
good.
Major most definitely has a stronger jungle pool at the moment. I mean, we can see the
Hmm.
Pantheon that's quite popular in every region apart from the LEC right now. It just hasn't worked. I don't know why. Us EU players must just have a allergic reaction to Pantheon. But no, he's extremely strong when he gets like 5, 6. So really, until then, it's kind of power farming, which I think that low elo player is gonna, slightly be more comfortable with. It's
Hmm.
equally coming out with the Warwick, as I said earlier, that Bork upgrade, super strong, but equally tying that in with the Trundle at the moment. Major is looking like this three typical picks right now are especially strong. But I do want to comment on the Sejuani. The Sejuani is especially good into Trundle picks. So if they pick Trundle, you pick Sejuani, and it's that aspect of, yes, you can go an OP carry right now, but I'm absolutely just going to stand in your face and make you take all of that damage again, right?
I do also see a couple games of Remus. I don't see
Ramos.
few from Major. Now, I know that that is also can be pretty good. I feel like it honestly depends. I mean, we'll just have to see, man. We'll just have to see how this
Yeah.
jungle matchup phases out. Honestly, if you had to looking at both of these teams, what is the lane to watch for you?
Ooh, now that is controversial because I think every lane is one to watch. Now that is
Hmm.
each for different reasons, right? I think mid lane is going to go towards the side of don't eat bees purely just because that control mage aspect. They can stay back, they can poke, they can play it under that tower.
Hmm.
But I think every single one is going to be a blood buff. Major has that stronger champ pool compared to Deem, so I think jungle's going to go more over to the side of AG. But top lane is its own different question, right? You have that aspect of downfall. They're used to that rumble now. That's a really strong pick at the moment, but equally they may come out on something like a Cassante or a Malphite. So in general, I think every single lane is one to watch. But if I
Hmm.
had to say which team I think to watch, it's going to be AG for me. I think they've got so much better team cohesion as a general, and these comps mixed together way better.
Yeah, I mean that's valid. At the end of the day, even though we do have one team that is ranked higher than the other, right? It is IBSG. Anything can happen. It just depends on what team shows up on the day, does the better draft, and then plays better as a team. So,
100%.
what do you feel the score is going to be though for both of these teams, or who do you have taken it? And what's the score?
Oh, the score. Now, I think it's going to be uber close, right?
Hmm.
Typically low elo games are always close. They're never a stomp, right? Because even if someone is like 30 kills, it's low elo. You can still
Hmm.
win it back, right? It's never over. Like in, oh, I don't know. Use pro player when someone like a Jinx gets 2 kills at the start, the game's just over at 2 minutes, right? But I
Hmm.
think in aspect games like this, it's going to be close. But I have AG taking it. I'm going to say 2-1.
AG. Okay. Yep. That I mean that's valid. I know yesterday I did have Tanuki's taking it. Because I don't know many people on this team, and so I'm excited to see how they play. But I'm going to agree with you. I do think it is going to be a 2-1 in favor of AG. Um, like you stated before, they just have the better picks, honestly, in terms of their roles and, like you said, more cohesion. Jeez, it's a big word.
No, you're fine.
But no, I mean, all in all, it should be a very, very interesting game to watch.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, we've already got a little bit of smack talking chat from Pandora. Many people without me, everyone will know soon. But you know, something I will add is yes, you can have better team comps, right? But that
Hmm.
doesn't mean you know how to play them. You could have
Yeah,
a low elo team playing the most meta picks ever, and yet you could have a Yumi top lane, and the Yumi may still win if they're better mechanically, right?
yeah, for sure.
So that's an aspect for me that I would need to not overlook, especially as I think in these games they're just a bloodbath. So it's purely just, I think, micro diff. There's not much macro going on,
Yeah,
but you
that's
know,
valid.
that's what we prefer. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to have, right? We like that little bit of bloodbath.
Hmm. Yep, we do like a bloody game. It makes more interesting than this 3, 4 kills at 10 minutes. Very calculated. Ain't no fun in that, man. We want to see red.
50 versus 50 is what we want to
There
see.
you go. Yeah, I want to see a 100 kill game tonight. You hear that, Pandora? 100 kills, or I don't know. I'll think of something. I'll go back to you on that. But
Okay,
anyways, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is, you're going to have to look at both of the multi views and tell me, what do you think the first ban is going to be, and what do you think the first pick is going to be?
Oh, okay. Let's see here. So honestly, I need to see what team has what side. Or I don't think that really matters. So honestly, if I'm either one of these teams, I'm definitely looking for the potential Jinx, Yunara, Prio. But then again, in terms of AG, I would honestly first ban. Depends on if you're blue side or not. Uh, huh. Honestly, I would
It's a
probably
tricky
ban the
one.
Renekton AG, honestly, because you can lock the Renekton on phase 3. Because if someone has this many games with this percent of win rate, it's really hard to counter that, because having that
Hmm.
many games means that for the most part they know the matchups. I mean, they clearly played 142 games of this champion. So honestly, I would probably, I don't know if I'd first ban the Renekton. I'd probably third ban it. But first ban probably an ADC. Uh,
Okay.
being potentially MF for the side of AG. So ban MF, first pick Jinx or Yunara. The Yunara Jinx matchup, I haven't played too much of it yet, but I know that if the Yunara does play right, you can kind of run Jinx down early and she can't really do anything. So yeah, I'd probably have to say MF for AG, and then on the side of uh, Tanuki's, I would honestly Definitely the Zyra. 100% the Zyra.
Mm.
I wouldn't let that through at all. That is such an annoying lane to play against. Even more so
See,
if you're gonna pair with something like the
I'm
Ashe.
gonna have I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off and
Yeah, go
disagree with
ahead.
you there. I think banning Zyra is a waste.
Okay.
Ooh, controversial opinion,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I think banning Zyra is a waste, right? And why is that?
Mhm,
You can kind of mold teams like this. So when you want to do stuff like this, when it's against OTPs, it's so obvious who they're going to default towards, right?
mhm,
Emperor is more comfortable on that Zyra compared to anyone else naturally, right? So what do? You leave it open, right? What does that mean? It means D-Top's going to have to step up their performance, right? You have that Rel, you have that Leona, you can even Braum. That's all incredibly good picks into Zyra, and you can form your team around that. So what do you want to do? Maybe you get Yunara. You put Yunara with Braum, and then suddenly you've got a bot lane who's going to absolutely bully the opposition.
mhm. Yeah,
So
that is valid. What do you think first
that's
picks are
how
gonna
it
be
is.
though?
I think I'll start with first bans actually. I
Okay.
think Sion is going away instantly if they're smart,
Okay.
right? If they're smart, I think Sion is the pick to go because he's absolutely OP right now, and Urameshi clearly is very comfortable with him.
Mhm.
2.8 KDA, 100% win rate. That's a bit of a smart ban in my sense. Urameshi may not be on. He is the top. My apologies, but I think that's definitely a good ban. And then it's just an aspect of which ADC would you rather not play against. Okay, are you going to draft your comp around playing into Jinx or playing into Yunara, right? You want a
Mhm.
lane that kind of facilitates them. But I think first pick. Ooh, that's a questionable one. That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's what I was struggling with.
Ooh, I think a good first pick for AG would be Rumble,
Okay.
and then a good first pick for GCCE. Ooh, I think top lanes are just quite good first picks
That's fair.
generally, or get your mid lane going first. So install up that Victor, make it so
Mhm.
you're having a winning mid lane matchup, or yeah. So I first pick Victor or Rumble.
Okay. That's pretty valid. Yeah, no, that is completely fair. I mean, like I said, man, we'll just have to see what happens tonight. I'm looking forward to a very interesting match. Hopefully a bloodbath, because that's what we all want. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah.
But nah, I mean, yeah, I think that about covers it. Do you have anything else you want to say, man, or touch on before we kind of wrap this up?
AG and 2.
Hey, Gene. I don't know, man. I feel like the games are going to be a little bit closer, but
No,
then
I'm just
again,
joking. No, it won't be in 2. I think most definitely that GCCE is more of a mechanical team. I mean, if you look at ranks, then that obviously says it, right? You've got a higher rank, but that doesn't always mean they're more mechanical. So I think it's more down to whoever has the better mechanics is going to win, right?
yeah, no, 100%. 100%. Who has better mechanics, and then honestly, who can play their comp better?
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. No, but that's all I have to say.
yeah, all right. Well, with that being said, guys, we really appreciate y'all coming out, watching. Make sure that you do follow the stream, you join the Discord, all that good jazz, and make sure you tune in tonight for this complete and utter bloodbath that we are going to see between these two teams. I will say this again because I said it yesterday. With the season being so so little weeks, wins are that more important because you want good seeding. And then you lose a game, right? You're kind of having to pick up the scraps. Like, okay, well, how many more games can we lose before we're out of playoff contention? So teams just pretty much have to show up and then play the game that they know how to play. And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's all you can do is in this elo. So with that being said, guys, this is Lucky here. I really appreciate you guys coming out. Once again, make sure you tune in tonight. Do not miss this game. I'm pretty sure it is going to be one for the ages. Anyways, have my good friend Evan here. Y'all take it easy.